am a person. Yeah, we had a couple one we had one a couple of weeks ago. That's right. And today, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I met this gentleman back around New Year's, and you think that you had known him all your life. He is such a great artist. He's from Jasper, Georgia, so we won't hold him too bad that he crossed the Alabama line. But anyway, but that's fine. We got Mr. Alan Baker on the phone, and what a what a great guy he is, and stuff. So we're going to be talking to Mr. Baker today. Alan, introduce yourself.
Alan Baker, and originally from Atlanta, then moved to Jasper, and now I'm in Cedar Bluff, Alabama.
And I'm not going to ask you how you got to Alabama, but the business that he does, that he before he became the legendary gospel singer that he was, he works in a really tight environment, and you got to be very careful when you hang out with him. But that's all I got to say about that. But anyway, Alan, welcome to the Chuck Bryant Show Unplugged, where we asked you the very hard questions. You may want to go get a tissue for your issue before it becomes an issue.
It's so good to be you this evening, Brother Chuck.
I appreciate you being with us. I've been teasing you for the last 4 or 5 months about things, but anyway, it's great to be with us. We did a concert with Miss Evelyn Adams here a few weeks ago, and it turned out really good.
Yes,
and
sir.
And you got a copy of that too, did you not?
Correct. Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. If you need me to burn it to DVD, let me know. We'll be more than glad to do that for you.
All right.
So
did you push it on Facebook? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we will after I get this one done.
Oh, okay.
Got a question for you. What's on the horizon for you, my friend?
Oh, we got lots of things going on. It's almost mind-boggling.
All right, I hear that.
We just done Alabama Gospel Roots 2 or 3 weeks ago, that TV program. It'll be airing sometime in the next month, I guess, on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock when they let me know when that airs. I will, of course, post a link to it on my Facebook page. And then we've got the 3rd annual gospel singing coming up at the Biblical Times Theater in Pigeon Forge in May. We'll be up there for 3 days. And then
there is rumors, and it's only rumors, that the Chuck Bryant Show may show up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I talked to Brian the other night for probably about 30 minutes. I think he was at work, and we was texting back and forth, and he said, "Hey, I was there for the 1st annual show, and then he wants me there, and I'm going to push to get there,
right?
Because it might be the last one I get to go to, because there's some things in the works, and you know what they are, but we're not saying for sure, but we've got some family that we may wind up going to be with and stuff like that. So
right,
especially with the grandkids, they're getting to where they're 3 and 4 now, and the other one's on 11, so they want to see their pawpaw.
I understand that. Since you mentioned Brian, you need to make a phone call for me.
All right.
He doesn't know me, of course, and I don't have any music I think is good enough to send him until my new CD that I'm working on comes out.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I listened to that CD. I've got you in rotation. I don't think there's anything with it. Send him a couple of songs.
Well, that was my problem. He don't. I was kind of hesitant to send him this latest CD because I just don't think it's the sound quality that it needs to be.
Well, you know who's your worstest critic?
Me.
That's correct.
Yes, I know that.
And then it's me.
Myself.
You know that? And then it's me. I mean, we took the CD out and we wanted to see how many pieces we could. 4. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it's that bad, brother. I really don't. I mean, I'm running it on And you've got some people that have asked for it in the mornings,
Wow, that's awesome.
on our YouTube channel. And I'll say, who? Alan Presley? No, oh no, you mean Alan Baker. There's a difference. I'm just kidding. But no, they've had a couple of people, and I've played it while you've been on the air too.
Oh yes,
And
yeah, and I greatly appreciate that.
hey brother, we do whatever we can to help promote you.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about this new project since you brought it up. I was gonna try to keep it a secret, but you brought it up, so the cat's in the bag now. Anyway,
That's right. Well, what do you want to know about it?
tell me about it.
Well,
Who produced this thing for you? Don't tell me that you went to Chapel Valley.
well, they're the greatest recording studio that I've ever been to.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I've got some really, really good friends that have recorded with Chapel Valley. One recently is Sacred Call from up in Arkansas, and Ken Turner. I don't know if you know who Ken Turner is or not. Ken Turner's a really good friend of mine, and they did a project up there last year that we've got climbing on the charts for us. And they're really good guys. But tell us more.
It's got kind of a variety of songs on it. Like the producer is Shane Roart, the engineer is Jonathan Kites. Sorry about that, Jonathan, if you're listening. And just outstanding musicians that you can't find any better. I mean, really, they're just top notch guys. Everybody up there, and they've just made me feel right at home, and wanted to make sure that everything that they're doing for me is I'm satisfied with. But I think we've got 10 of the best songs that's on anybody's CD coming out. Do you want me to mention songs?
No, keep that apart a secret, because we want to make sure that this is just that you went to Chapel Valley. Chapel Valley is, I think, two of the greatest people to do CDs for Southern Gospel and Christian country is Daywind and Chapel Valley.
Yes, sir.
They put a lot of heart and soul in that, and they're not going to let you get out. Not saying, now let me recorrect it, because we do have a lot of friends that are in private stuff. Everybody does a great job in doing what they are.
Right. That's right.
I got a friend that's up towards Knoxville in that area. His name's Jeff Nader. Jeff does a really good job. We got some private people over in Chatsworth that Steve and his wife, she's really good. And I can't think of her name right off the top of my head right now. And I will probably after we go off the air. And she's watching this or listening to me. She may wind up skinning my head more than it is now. But anyway, so I know we talked while you were at the studio. That's right. Chuck did interview him or aggravate him while he was at the studio, because I knew he was going to be there. But go ahead. Tell us a little bit about how the experience was working with Chapel Valley and stuff.
Well, anytime I guess I go into a studio, usually I get nervous a little bit.
You get nervous? No,
I do.
No way.
Even just about any time before I go up to sing, I still get a little nervous even. But and I ain't gonna tell you my secrets, but because a lot of people might, they might want to try them, but they just made me feel right at home, and everything was just clicked right into place. Of course, we've been praying and had a lot of people on Facebook praying for me. I'd ask for prayers and stuff, and everything just clicked right in line. Matter of fact, when we went last week to do our vocals, we had planned on it taking 2 days probably. So I'd already booked a motel for 2 nights to stay. So we get up there and we start. And man, it just starts so good and so smooth. Everything just fell right in place. And we was done with 10 songs on them, all vocals, in 4 hours.
So you got a couple extra days vacation. Praise God.
I canceled the room and I come back home and work.
Well, that's good too.
But
So
it just
you've got
really
you've got a
everything
big. Go
together
ahead.
real,
I'm sorry.
everything went together real good. Is what I'm trying to say.
Hey man, God's in the house. God takes care of people. You know that.
That's right. He does. He is a miracle working God
He is. He's an awesome God. I don't care what anybody says.
all
But
the time.
you got a project coming up on June the 1st. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we've got a. It's June 1st and 2nd. On June 1st, it will be. We're having an all day singing, gospel singing. Starts at 9 a.m. in the morning and goes to 6 o'clock Saturday evening. But we also are having an arts and crafts festival, and we're going to have about 30 vendors there. Uh, 2 or 3 food vendors and all kind of arts and craft vendors will be there. So it's going to be a really full weekend for 2 days, June 1st and 2nd. But the singing's only June 1st.
Okay. Do you know who some of the groups are, or can you say that?
Oh, yeah, I can say that. We'll have 3 Purple Crosses. We'll have uh, Forgiven, Forgiven Trio. We'll have myself. We'll have one of the guys from Southern Gospel Music Association. Will be on there, and boy, my mind just went blank. Uh, we got about 12 or 15 different groups that'll be there with us that day.
Remember, I said I will ask you the questions that will be hard.
That's right.
It's not called the Chuck Bryant Show Unplugged for nothing, you know.
Uh huh. I got you now.
Got you right there. Anyway, uh, we've been doing this kind of interviews for probably since like 2019, 2018. And I've one times I had Charlie Daniels on,
Wow.
and I've had Heidi Pardon, which is Dolly Parton's daughter, or not daughter, niece. Excuse me, Dolly, if you're listening to the program. I didn't mean to say that. But anyway, and you know, we've had some great people on the broadcast. I've had besides Charlie Daniels, right after doing the Charlie Daniels, we had Dalton. What was her first name? Lacey J. Dalton on. And
Okay.
man, I'm gonna tell you right now, that was a hoot. She was awesome. And we've had some authors and we've had some great people on our program. And now you get to add it to that list, my brother.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I'll be honest with you, we're very picky about who we invite to the program. And you know, we've had Brenda Denny from Second Generation, which is now Brenda Rhodes. She's from out in Arkansas. We've had some great people. And now I added you to my list.
Well, I
So
appreciate it. Really do.
so
Excellent.
how long have you been singing, Alan?
Uh, I told you I needed the hours. I've been singing since I was 5 years old.
5 years old. And you're now what? Oh, we'll be
No,
quiet on that one.
I've got a birthday coming up in July. I'll say that.
I got one coming up at the end of the June now. I mean, it's almost that July part.
That's right. But just started. Like I said, I was originally from Atlanta, and my mom and dad took me to one of the, not one, was several of the all night gospel singers they had in Atlanta at the Memorial Auditorium,
I've heard about those all night gospel singings.
and they were all night.
Oh yeah.
And you're talking about groups like the original Happy Goodmans, the Hensons, the original Inspirations, the Kingsmen, the
Ooh,
Florida Boys,
the original
just
Florida Boys.
and that's where I fell in love with the Inspirations to start with, and been following them for ever since. But
Well, you,
that's where Southern gospel music started for me.
well, it's something funny. I never knew who the Hensons were. And I know that's probably surprising to you, but I didn't know who they were.
Right.
I started the radio station. I wanted to get into Southern gospel. I had invited Jonathan Bond down to Florida because Jonathan and I have been friends for years. And I turned around and 97, Jonathan was at our church over in Chatsworth where I preached at yesterday, and him and his wife at the time. And so anyway, I called Jonathan up and I said, "Hey, brother, how would you like to come down to Fort Myers?" And he said, "I'd love it." He said, "This is what we need." So he sent me the banner, or the not the banners, but the posters. And I went and I found a place to do a church. It was at the Church of Nazarene on Bayshore Road down in North Fort Myers, Florida.
Right.
And did we not pack the house? And of course, you're bringing Jonathan and his groups in, and and we had some of the local groups that was there, like the Southland Messengers, Tony Moore, and some of these people have already gone. You're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I had my first great big gospel concert down there that lasted a couple hours. And the church was really excited, and we did it a couple more years, but as things went on, things happened and everything else. But that was my first thing. When I got ready to do this radio station, I called Jonathan up and I said, "Hey, I don't know where to go get music at. I don't know what I need to do." He said, "Come on up here. Let me sit down and we'll talk." And so we went up to his house. We sit down and talked. He told me what I needed to do. And that was the launch of the WOTG radio and what
Wow.
it's built into now.
Right.
And some of those names you've mentioned, they're honest, but getting back to the main story here, I did not know who the Hensons were. So
Wow.
one of the groups that I used to work with was the Southland Messengers, and Ed and Claudia, they're getting up a little bit. They've got health deals, and Ed was still working when I left Florida. He shut his shop down because you got to take care of Claudia because she's been through the ringer with all kinds of stuff, falling and stuff. So anyway, she called me up one night and she goes, "You got to come down here and you got to hear this guy Ronnie Henson." Ronnie who? And so I went down, not knowing. And here I've got the Hensons playing on the radio, and Kenny Henson sings that song, and I am gone, you know. And I love that song, but I didn't know who they were.
Right.
And so Ronnie asked a bunch of questions, and the I didn't have no idea that he was going to interview me. It was already set up for him to interview me, not me to interview him. How does that happen with the great Ronnie Henson? So anyway, Ronnie sits there and we're talking, and he says, "You know that you got one of the most important jobs in Southern gospel music." And I said, "I do." He said, "Yeah." He said, "If it wasn't for you, our music wouldn't get played." And he said, "My hat's off to you." He told
Yeah.
me how he wrote The Lighthouse and how he did this and how, the whole entire group. And the only one out of the whole entire patch of the Hensons that I do not know was I didn't know Kenny.
Right.
I know Kenny's kids. I don't know Kenny, but I met his brother, and I have met Chris. Matter of fact, I've sit down and had dinner with Chris and with Daryl and their family. They're really good friends, and that's my story of how I got to know the Hensons.
Right.
And Ronnie never forgets a face. He probably won't remember my name, but he'll remember my face. And to me, that's something. If somebody at his caliber, I it had been a couple of years since he seen me in 2018. We were down in I went down to Fort Myers. He was back at Pastor Billy Cass's church, the Nest, and said, "Hey, do you remember me?" He said, "Yeah, you're the internet radio guy, WOTG. Yeah, I remember you." And I said, "Fine." He said, "Are you here to hear me?" "No, I just actually stopped by to say hello to Pastor Billy. I think I'm gonna go down here and hear the Gold City. I think I heard they were in the neighborhood." "No, I come to see you, brother." And you know, in my career, Alan, I have got to meet some of the biggest names in gospel music. But
Right.
there is one that I have talked to him on the phone, but I've never been able to interview him in person, and that's Gold City.
Huh.
And that's the only one. I got to meet all the. I've got to meet the McCameys. I've got to be with the Freemans. I've got to be with, of course, the great Alan Baker now, and some of the great ones. The I've got to be with. Oh, I can't even remember what his name is. He's going to keep me Walker, Billy Walker. I've been with Billy before. I've been with, like I said, a lot of great the Chronicles, Greg Sullivan, and just great artists. And
Right.
people think sometimes that it don't matter to me if you're the smallest hen in the hen house to the big rooster it's out in the field. To me, each and every one of y'all are so much powerful for what you do for God.
Yes,
And I just want to say that. And you were talking about your album. I think it's a great album. I wouldn't have put it on WOTG. I'm very picky about what I put out there.
we
I
appreciate it, really
have,
do.
you're
We
welcome.
keep playing it.
And you've been on my morning program. Everybody says I get up way too early. Well, the chickens got to get up, and somebody's got to get them going out in the root, yeah, out in the hen house. And
Right.
now that summer's coming up, we're fixing to launch two more radio stations as soon as people get their funding and everything else back. And I'm really excited about that.
You
Uh,
know, going back to what you was talking about, the Hensons a minute ago.
yeah,
I went to the National Quartet Convention. I've been the last couple of years, and I'm going back this year in September. But last year, uh,
Ronnie was there.
Ronnie was there. But after most of the groups had sung, the Troy Burns family, they
Great
go out
people.
on the bus and cook hamburgers and hot dogs and food for everybody. And you just go out there, and everybody just gets around and sings and plays. The Inspirations, Troy Burns family, whoever wants to come out there and sing and play at their bus and eat hamburgers and hot dogs. And
Yeah.
that was, to me, about one of the best parts of the whole NQC. But Ronnie Henson come out there one night, and we all got to sing The Lighthouse with him.
Oh my gosh.
That's unbelievable.
He Ronnie has, you know, the night that I got to meet him, I got to meet Lisa also, his wife.
Yeah.
And she's got a testimony that's just out of this world. And them two together, they make such a great couple. He's such a great entertainer
Right.
and stuff. And I mean, I really enjoy what I do. Um, I didn't know that if I wanted to restart the Chuck Bryant show unplugged, I had started and I've spent a lot of money in trying to get back to where I was. And at one time, I had a ton of listeners, and with my shoulder being broken, I had to step away. I ran the radio station, but it got to be the point last year that I was missing this, and then trying to get back into, and it was like I got to meet you in January, well, it was New Year's is when I got to meet you, and I'm sure we've talked in the past, but I'm not for sure. But anyway, but getting to meet you and hang out with you and pick on you and do what I do best, but you really have a heart for what you're doing.
Yes.
And I do believe
I-
that your breakout is going to be this new album because Chapel Valley is going to push you.
right.
And
Right. Something that you may not have seen yet that just come out the last 2 or 3 days. February 10th through the 15th, we're going on a cruise.
you going on a cruise?
Apple Valley.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I
You need to get your tickets.
Well, if I can get Miss Bryant to where she could get in a wheelchair and we can get her going, I would do that. But you know what? Miss Bryant is happy where she's at, and I don't know if I would do so good on a cruise.
Well, this will be my first one, so
Well, you let me know how it goes, and then next
I
year we may go.
go to Chapel Valley also.
Um, where's it heading out at?
Port Canaveral.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd rather head out of New Orleans. That way you can stop off at the French Quarter and get you some beignets and get you some of that chicory coffee from down in New Orleans, don't you know?
Right.
Well,
Actually,
Alan,
the cruise last year did come out of New Orleans, but next year it'll be out of Port Canaveral.
well, great to know. Well, Brother Alan, it's we're coming to an end. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and book you for their church.
Alan Baker on Facebook, also Baker Ministries on Facebook. And then my phone number is 706 301 8002.
And give us that email one more time.
The email is ALLENBAKER 625 at rocketmail.com.
And Brother Alan, it's been a great. Hold on for just a minute. Let me close out the program. Stay right where you're at. Hey guys, we had Alan Baker on the show tonight. What a great man of God, and been in concerts with him a couple of times. And I'm gonna tell you right now, he has a heart for God and his songs. And if you've seen him, how hard he works in behind the scenes to get everything done, you need to get him into your church. You need, if whether you live in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, wherever you're at, even in the Carolinas, give him a call. It'll be worth your while. He was at Sister Evelyn's TV broadcast back in January. We had a blast, and he's just fun to be with, and he's also a really powerful man of God. Well, thank you so much for Alan for showing up to the program, and I want to see you again next Monday when we have another surprise guest seeing you. We've had, just in the last couple of weeks, we had, I would consider, the queen of gospel music, Vonda Armstrong, and we had Deborah Schultz on our program, and the people that wrote her song that she's got out the charts right now. We've had Randy Nichols from Appointed To, or Pastor Randy Nichols from Appointed To, and his song that he's got out to records right now. And we've had such many guests in the past, and I want to say thank you for tuning in to this program here on the WOTG Radio Network and the Branson Gospel Radio Network, and also the Chuck Bryant Show Unplugged. Until next time, my friends, hope to see you again very, very soon. You've been watching the Chuck Bryant Show Unplugged. You can catch this on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and also on X, formerly known as Twitter. God bless you. Until I see you again next time, I am out of here.